What's going on, guys? I'm back with another video, and in this one, we're going to be breaking down the top 20 tight ends in the 2022 NFL Draft. Now, I'm going to be making this a very, very short video, as I keep telling myself, only about 5 or 6 minutes long, so we're not going to go in depth on most of these guys. However, if you want to get the in-depth breakdowns on these players, which discuss their physical capabilities in terms of their height, speed, size, arm length, hands, that's the kind of stuff. I have full player breakdowns discussing their physical capabilities, their production, and their traits on my newsletter, which you can find the link for in the description. The link there will take you right to this article, and you can see all of the traits and all the pros and cons of drafting these players and their player profiles for free. So I encourage you to go check that out. But in the meantime, let's get right into this article and break down the top 20 tight ends in this draft. One, the only guy who I really consider being worth a second-round pick is Trey McBride. Really good at the Senior Bowl. Obviously, elite production in college, was basically Colorado State's offense this past year. Low touchdown rate, which is kind of surprising, but overall a very good prospect. Guys who we consider worth third-round picks: Jeremy Rucker from Ohio State, who has not really gotten many receiving opportunities in college, but I think will do better in the NFL. He's going to be a better pro tight end than he was a college tight end. Brad Dulcich from UCLA, who I know some people even consider to be the top tight end in this draft class. Really good player. Back-to-back years with good production. And drops are a bit of an issue, but I think he's going to be able to eliminate that at the NFL level. 4 is Cade Otton, who we didn't really get to see much of the past couple of years because of injuries. But I still think he's a solid blocker, even though he has some issues with functional strength at that point. And I still think there's enough upside for him to go in the third round of the draft. And then finally, Jelani Woods, the pure traits-based guy. Converted guy who was not originally tight end, or at least didn't play tight end quite a bit, but was more of just a blocking dude, I think, at Oklahoma State before moving to Virginia. And then he transfers to Virginia and becomes a really good player for them in 2021. 44 receptions for 598 yards and 8 touchdowns, 6'7", 275 pounds, and he runs with ridiculous speed. I mean, height, weight, speed to the max for this dude. Blocking is still been an issue because he gives up leverage because he's so big, but he's a decent blocker. He's passable as of right now, and his route running lacks nuance at this point. He's still developing that. He did not get to run a lot of routes at Oklahoma State. That has changed at Virginia, so you have to show some patience with him. But like I said, height, weight, speed, and his ceiling is basically sky high. And I don't really know more you can ask for a big guy than just be a tremendous physical freak like this and come off the best year of his career in college, where he had really good production for a tight end. And 4th-round picks: Charlie Kolar from Iowa State. Just can't block, really. I mean, he's just not a good blocker. But consistently, he's been one of the best producers in terms of statistics the past couple of years. Over 2,000 yards in the past 3 seasons. He's 6'6", 260 pounds, 34.5-inch arms, 10-inch hands. Just all the physical measurements you could ask for. He's not twitchy. He gets cut down, doesn't really create a lot after the catch, doesn't really rumble after the catch. Not a great blocker. But if you're looking for a pro comp for him, I would almost say someone like Zach Ertz, someone who's not extremely twitchy in open space, someone who's not going to have high end speed, but someone who just consistently gets open. And I think Charlie Kolar would be that guy who just consistently finds space and sits in it and gets open and is the quarterback's best friend at the next level. Number 7, Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina. He ran a 4.8 40 time at his pro day. It was a 7.333 cone. Those are like linebacker level numbers, and this is a guy who's supposed to be a quote-unquote big wide receiver, basically is what his role was at Coastal Carolina. He can do some blocking, but not a ton of blocking. And he's supposed to be more like this slot option guy. And he just does not have the speed or the agility to be that. So I thought for a while he was going to be my tight end 2 in terms of being my tight end 7, because I just don't know where he'll fit in the NFL with testing numbers like that. Number 8 is Jake Ferguson. I think Jake Ferguson can't really be a tight end 1, but he can certainly be a high-end caliber tight end number 2 on our roster to at least begin his career. Maybe he eventually develops in that tight end 1. When we get into the 5th-round picks, these guys are going to be day 3 selections for sure. Dietrich Dees from San Jose State. I'm higher on him than a lot of people. He is pretty undersized, but I do have a lot of faith in his ability to transition to the next level. Chigo Okonkwo from Maryland's like tight end 10. He's more of a do-it-all kind of guy, a bit of a gadget player, but certainly a lot of production this past year. 52 receptions for 447 yards and 5 touchdowns. My concern is he really has schemed up a bunch of touches as well coming out of the backfield. So I'm a little concerned with his route tree being underdeveloped, but a really, really good athlete. Tight end 11, James Mitchell, who in hindsight I think could be a top 10 tight end in this class because he missed a lot this past year with injuries. But if he had played, I really think he would have stood out. He would have had probably close to 600 receiving yards, 700 receiving yards. I think he's got that caliber of potential to be that player in the NFL as well. We get Garrett Prince from UAB, not a really good blocker, bit of an undersized tight end, but really good in open space. Someone who will create a ton of yak after the catch. 6th round, Daniel Bellinger from San Diego State. There are going to be other people who are much higher on this guy than I am. I just watch him. I just don't see it. I don't think he's a complete player. And then Grant Calcaterra, 10 from SU is my 10 and 14. A lot of concerns about concussions. He's 24 or almost 24. He's going to be 24 as a rookie. And he retired after the 2020 season because of concussions. He came back ultimately and played a pretty good year for SMU. But anytime someone retires with concussions, it's going to be a red flag. So inherently, I have him down here in the 6th round. 7th round, guys, Cole Turner, who I liked a lot more going to this process, but then he tested very poorly, and he did not have a good Senior Bowl whatsoever. So he's dropped quite a bit. He'll still be drafted, but he is a converted wide receiver who plays tight end and just has not kept that wide receiver agility with him. Jalen Weidermeyer, another guy who tested really poorly, ran a over 5-second 40 time. Has semi-productive this past year. I mean, he's had solid years in college football, but never really broke out. And you throw that with like not really good blocking, just kind of decent blocking. He's just there with all the lackluster agility, the 5 penalties in 2021. It all adds up. Amari Rodgers from Ohio. This is a converted quarterback turned tight end who really did not run any routes as a tight end until the Shrine Bowl. And he looked pretty damn good doing it. Now, granted, he's 226 pounds last time I checked. He's going to have to definitely bulk up in that sense. He's got the frame to do it, though, at 6'5". But ideally, I mean, he's got to get closer to at least 240 to play 10 in the NFL if he wants to be able to be a guy with an inline block at all. Because as of right now, I don't think he can block if you're asking to do it. And tier 7, undrafted free agents, Austin Allen from Nebraska, 6'8", 255 pounds, 33 5/8 inch arms. He might just get drafted based on those measurements alone. Connor Hayward, who I think will get drafted, actually, but I just have a hard time placing him because he's a tight end / fullback / sometimes return man. So he's not a pure tight end, basically. He's going to be a multi-role player on a team and probably a special teams ace as well. But not from a pure tight end perspective, not a guy I would really be highly on drafting because, again, the physical measurements just are not there from the pure tight end. But if you're looking at him to play backfield quite a bit, play on special teams, be a good presence in the locker room, he can definitely be all that. And then tight end 20, Peyton Hendershot, has an arrest record, not great, obviously, whenever you get into that. And he's had some productive seasons, but he's just not a very dynamic player. And combining that with, not having a high ceiling per se, and then having some serious instances past that will require looking into, you end up becoming a UDFA. And some honorable mentions, Chase Allen from Iowa State, Trey Berry from Boston College, who I like quite a bit, John Fitzpatrick from Georgia, Lucas Kroll from Pittsburgh, Nick Muse from South Carolina, Tegun, I'm going to mess up this name pretty badly, Quitoriano from Oklahoma State. Jeez, that was bad. Well, let's do it again. And then we got Kansas State tight end Daniel Imator. I'm going to call it night here, guys. I'm tired. I'm tired for the draft. I can't pronounce that name, but you can see it on the screen. And if you want to go ahead and try to pronounce it for yourself, head over to my newsletter, which is linked in the description below, where you can read all these breakdowns for yourself. It's totally free. Like I said, give it a shot at the pronunciation, and I'll have it down by draft night. I promise you that. I still got 24 hours to figure it out. For now, guys, have a good night.